Today I'm going to uncover the secret of visual storytelling. You see, I have a camera that shoots beautiful, razor-sharp 4K video.
Because sometimes I don't want sharp, I want soul. It's the same reason I bought this faded Polaroid last year with the colours all a bit off and the edges curled. Oh, shake it, shit. You see, this can mean more to you than 1,000 HD photos on your phone.
Each scratch or wash of colour in that old photo, it isn't a flaw, it's a story, and visual storytelling is powerful. Think about the songs we love. Sure, we can stream any tune in perfect digital quality, but there's something about the subtle crack of a vinyl record, those tiny pops and hisses of imperfection.
That raw, warm sound, it isn't just heard, it's felt. It pulls on that pure nostalgia, transporting us to a different time and place.
In content creation, visuals work the same way. A little film grain or a light leak in video can evoke memories and emotion in an instant, tapping into that nostalgia that resonates deeply with an audience. I was going through some old footage of me for this video and I found some of me jumping on my garden trampoline. It's slightly blurry and sun-bleached, yet that single image brings back a flood of memories, more than any crystal clear video ever would. Why? Because it's authentic. It has that feel of a moment in time. And when we watch these grainy home videos or look at old photos, we're not just analysing pixels or resolution.
See, we're feeling the story. Visuals grab our attention and stick in our memory when they hold emotional weight. Oh, in fact, our brain processes images lightning fast, faster than words. And an impactful image can hook us almost immediately.
So if you infuse your visuals with emotion, a touch of nostalgia, or a sense of home, your viewers will be drawn in within milliseconds.
All those little visual touches, the grain, the bloom, the muted vintage colours, they're all storytelling tools. They're nostalgic visuals that act like a time machine, almost transporting viewers into this story that you're telling. And that's an incredible hook for any creator that's trying to stand out online in a digital world. In a world full of endless, crispy 4K, 8K footage, a clip that looks and feels like a lost home movie can captivate someone's attention in seconds. It's so unique and it's so personal that it sets you apart by tapping into something universally human. So how do you actually create that nostalgic film look if you don't have an old Super 8 camera lying around, which I definitely don't? Well, I'm glad you asked, because I found a way to do it without time travel or any expensive vintage gear, because anything that's old nowadays seems to be more expensive than anything that's new. It's called Dehancer. Dehancer is a film emulation software that packs decades of film science into a little plugin that goes straight into DaVinci Resolve or Premiere Pro or Final Cut, I believe. It delivers, for me, a genuine analog look into any modern footage. And it lets me show my story with the colours and textures of that nostalgic look that I love, rather than just telling it. And those shots that you saw earlier that kind of felt straight out of an old family video, they were shot on my Canon 6D Mark II. And then all I had to do is transform them with Dehancer with like a few tweaks. And then I can add film grain, bloom, halation, vintage colours, looks, and old settings of old vintage cameras. And those imperfections that make the story, they then make the story come alive, and the result is that my viewers don't just see a video, they feel like they're reliving an old memory, and that hits on that nostalgic core memories, and it makes them feel that connection. They stick around, or hopefully they stick around for the whole story. So I want to dive into how I've used Dehancer in that little intro to make this all happen. And I'll show you some of the things that you can do with it too. Now, this is an honest review, so there are some things that aren't the best in the world or things that I think you could fix. But this is me coming at it from a beginner's angle, just to show you step by step of how I've made that video. Okay, so as you can see, this is my current timeline with everything on it. And that little project that you basically saw the first 2 minutes of right there. Now, I made this as simple as possible for any beginner to be able to use this, because I think that would be the best experience of this, is trying to use this as a beginner and not going deep diving into nodes or using the color correction or the color panel. I put it straight into the timeline so any beginner can use it. So as you can see here on the left, I've got Dehancer Pro, the film emulation, and I just used an adjustment clip. So I put an adjustment clip at the top of my timeline where all my footage is, and to get that adjustment clip, all you have to do on DaVinci Resolve is go into your toolbox, type adjustment clip, and drag it on. For the purposes, I'll just use the one I've already made. Within that adjustment clip, I've then gone into my open effects, which you go all the way down to where it is, Dehancer Pro, and I've dragged and dropped it onto the adjustment clip. Now, when I click that adjustment clip, you'll see up here, the effects tab, I suppose you could call it, will be highlighted. And that is where Dehancer Pro is stored if you're in the editing page. Now, you can do it where you go into Fusion and put it in your nodes or into your colors and put some nodes on here as well. But I've decided for ease and for a beginner friendly that I'll put it in the edit timeline, which if you are a beginner, that is probably what you're going to be doing and using. So I just want you to know that Dehancer have given me this to review, but there is no obligation to give it a positive review or anything like that. So before we dive in, I just wanted to get that straight, just so I'm not so it doesn't seem like an advertisement for Dehancer. They have given me this just to review and see what it's like. First of all, I want to say I'm very, very impressed by it. It does some amazing things. I also, as you can see here on the left-hand side, I have Artlist and I have a subscription for that, and I pay quite a bit of money for that. And Dehancer does some things that I've wanted to be using for so long. I like to add that vintage, nostalgic footage in my cinematic footage. So it's amazing, and thank you to Dehancer for letting me review this and letting me use your product. Starting off, this is your input. So this is your main input. Whichever camera you're using, you can choose that camera, but just for a beginner, I'd choose Rec 709. A lot of cameras film in Rec 709. You can then adjust your exposure. So I'll put it onto a clip where it's me here, and you can just adjust the exposure there. You can adjust the temperature, which I did, made it a bit warmer, 16.3 here, and then this is the film section, which is by far to me the best section, because it's one click and you can change your footage completely. Now, I've kept it on the one that they start with, Kodak Vision 3, because I actually thought it worked very nice for my whole clip. And I wanted to keep it on one clip to see if it worked the whole timeline, rather than going into and having to adjust every single one. I found that it really did, and it worked on just the one adjustment layer, and I've gone all the way across. And then over time, I split up the adjustment layer and just color corrected or put less grain on, etc., etc. But I wanted that like plug and play sort of feel from this, and you can definitely get that with Dehancer. So yeah, I'll just show you some of the feels here, some of the different stuff you can change, get different colors, use different Kodaks, Polaroids, and it just gives you that old school feel. Like you can see here, this one's got a lot of halation, a lot of bloom. So this is really, you can go through all of these and just see which one you like best for that specific clip, which I think like that one, just clicking once and having a different profile load, I think is amazing. One thing I would say is I'd love this to be able to be like scrollable, where you can look over it and it changes it before you actually like commit to it. But that might be something to do with DaVinci Resolve and not necessarily Dehancer. Also, I've got my playback in quarter at the moment, so if I put that on full, you can really see the difference in quality. That gives you more quality because my playback is full. So that is something to keep in mind when you're doing this. Like if you go to half, it will give you that more of the feel of what you're about to get. But if you're at full, it depends on how much graphics and RAM and memory your MacBook can hold. But if I've just got this on the one image, you can see exactly how it's going to be here. Now I just want to move ahead to these two here. film grain, these three, should I say, film grain, halation, and bloom. These are the ones that I've played around with a lot and find really interesting. Now, film grain obviously gives you that like spotty footage, and I tend to enjoy it. I really like film grain, and as you can see, when I'm putting more on there, you can see how far you can get it. But you can also see the profile. So an 8mm will probably give you a bit more when you ramp it up, so you can hardly see my footage at the moment. The sweet spot of being able to see that clear footage of shot on my 4K Canon R6 Mark II, but also adding that nostalgic feel to it. Now, halation is the other thing you can do, and again, you can change the profile on this and see exactly what fits to you from all those old vintage cameras, which I find fascinating. And again, you can amplify this, and what that does, if I just enable this mask mode, you can see how much it affects certain things, and by changing that will enhance or dehance the amount of halation you get. Now, it just gives it that like light feel off any light source. If I turn this all the way down, you might be able to see it slowly going up. So any light source, it gives that like bleed effect, I suppose, which is so nice. It gives it that vintage retro shot on an old camcorder sort of feel. Bloom does a similar thing. Again, if I put this mask mode on and I put that to like an 8mm, really brighten this up, you'll be able to see exactly what it's affecting there. And this does that same sort of feel. It just gives it that bleed of light, which is so nice to your footage. Now, you don't want to go over the top with this, so play around with it, see what's really nice for you. I kind of like the 35mm. It's like it gives it that effect, but not too much that it like destroys your footage. Next one is film damage, and that is sort of like on what you see in vintage old school cinema. I can put this on. If I enable this, you might be able to see it here. It gives it that like
Polaroid last year with the colours, all of that
old school like burnt feeling that you'd see in an old cinema. And then the last one I want to just touch on is the vignette. Obviously, you know what a vignette is, or at least if you're into film, you probably will know what this means. But if I just turn the feather of this right down and the size of it right down, it's basically putting a ring of darkness or light around, if you pull it the other way, around your footage. Now, this is just great for giving it, again, that like retro, burnt out, old school feel. That is all I wanted to do on this. Now, I'm going to put it back into quarter and play that a little bit for you, but you can see when you do change your timeline to quarter, it sort of enhances the effects. So make sure you've got it on the right profile, or at least the right playback proxy resolution, so you know exactly what your footage is going to do, because you could render this and export it and it be a completely different feel to what you intended by not having the right timeline proxy resolution on. So this footage for me,
beautiful,
although it will like play full and exactly what I need to and not have any lag of frames or anything, this is way too blown out for me.
4K video.
Because sometimes I don't want shot, I want soul. It's the same reason. But because my MacBook can't handle full with all the effects and all the programs that I'm running currently, I bought this faded Polaroid last year with the... As you can see, it will lag and I won't get that full feel of like what the video's actually like. So that's because I'm running Streamlabs to record this and running DaVinci, and I've got Logic open, and I've got my Google Chrome open as well. So that's the reason it's running slow at the moment. So definitely be careful of making sure that you've seen exactly how your footage is when it's going to be exported. Overall, though, I have played around with this for a while now. I just wanted to show you a brief sort of explanation of what Dehancer looks like. They also have an iOS version, so you can get the footage on your phone. You can change images, which is really cool, actually, that they have an iOS version of this app as well. So I'd go and check that out. And I also have an affiliate link. So if you are looking at getting Dehancer, you can get it from me, and I can give you a 10% discount on that. All you have to type in is a promo code H, and that's HECH. Now you might be understanding why Daniel H is called Daniel H, because it's literally how it's said. That's Heych. And that'll be the promo code for Dehancer Pro, and you get this on DaVinci Resolve, Premiere Pro, Final Cut, and you can get the iOS app as well. And it has so many products and so many different things that you can use for this, just to create that nice vintage feel. Hope you enjoyed this one. Please comment below if you did enjoy this one and you want more storytelling visual techniques. It's really interesting to me. I love creating cinematic videos for you. Thank you. I'll see you in the next one. Peace. Bye.